Welcome back to another edition of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me, as usual, is Hunter, Harris, and Austin Fyffe. What's up, guys?
What's up? How are you?
Oh, just another day in the neighborhood.
I have a new mic, so I sound very pristine right now.
Nice and crisp. You got the white mic, dude.
White
show
mic.
the fans, dude.
Gosh, this is gonna be really great quality. Let me ruffle
Oh,
this around.
it's incredible. All right, you can put it down now.
If I hold it up to the
Austin, how's
camera,
your
it
day
makes
been?
it bigger.
It's all about perception, dude.
It's all about angles. Well, Hunter, I know we haven't done it so far this season, but let the sobriety end. It's time to unleash the Canoe Club on the listeners today.
I love this
This is
bottle.
Yeah, it's a little guy.
It's just a little guy.
I got a little head, so it kind of looks big. But Fields and Ivy Brewery, Lawrence, Kansas. You're the first beer of season 2, so don't ruin it. What are you drinking out of, Hunter?
Oh, come on. We have to get a bottle opener for this.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, stall.
We
while I
drink
go
beer
get-
on this podcast. This is amateur hour.
Dude,
Oh my god. All right.
I'm
Take the
rusty.
headphones off so that
I'm
Austin and
rusty.
I
I
can while
haven't
you're-
done this in a while. I'll be right back.
This is pathetic. All right, let's get the pour. Oh, Austin, do you hear it through the mic?
I can.
Oh, that's got to be wonderful for the listeners then.
Well, clank, clank.
It smells like beer. It looks like beer. It's probably going to taste like beer. The Canoe Club. What do you think of that bottle, Austin?
It's
I'm
pretty
gonna
sweet.
Rotate it. Yeah,
Like
if
the
anyone's-
design. It's a cool,
yeah.
different package.
exactly. It's small enough too that like I feel like this is a good beer that if I had like a cement wall next to me or in an alley, I'd just chuck it at it and let it shatter everywhere.
I feel like you get some nice.
Make me feel
VO
like
on
a
it.
big tough guy. But these bottles, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, you're a historian. These bottles were invented so that you can't grab it by the neck and shatter it and start a fight. You can't do much with that. That's not much.
I mean, I have no idea whether or not that's true or not, but I say we go with it. I mean, it sounds good.
I think we just created history. Oh, Hunter, welcome back, dude. Did you get your beer open?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, we're
Good.
talking football today. Did you know that? I just wanted to know if you were prepared for any part
Guys,
of the show.
listen, I'm literally halfway through my Chipotle right now, so I'm going to need you guys to keep stalling while I finish the rest of this guac. So let's move on to some football.
Crunch. All right, let's get going with Thursday night. Oh, first, Austin, we got to recap. How did we do on our picks last week?
Better for me, but it couldn't get worse. AJ, you went 8-8. Hunter and I both went 7-9.
All right.
Hunter does get the leg up on me though, because he got his lock right. I did not, but I'm going to take my asterisks with the Garoppolo going out early in that game and forcing Lance into action.
And you know what?
Oh,
I'll
there's
allow
always gotta
it
be
because as
excuse.
we were discussing, I was also considering taking a second lock, but we weren't doing that. And I was going to take the Niners as well. So I feel for you, Austin.
Still an offer on the stat sheet. That's all that matters.
That is all that matters. All right, let's get going. Thursday night football, NFC West rivalry. Rams Seahawks. Rams are 2.5-point favorite. Hunter, you're munching on chips. So I'm going to throw it to Austin. Austin, what'd you think of the Rams last weekend getting their hindies kind of kicked by Arizona?
Yeah. I mean, Arizona is a good team. I was one of the teams that I said I had higher expectations for than you guys did preseason. I'm going to chalk it up to, it's a division game and they didn't play well and kind of move on from there. I don't think it changes how I feel about Los Angeles moving forward. Wasn't Stafford's best game, but when you get behind a team that can score as fast as Arizona can, it kind of throws your game plan all off. And, I'm just going to chalk it up to that, move on. I'm still taking the Rams this week. I don't love Seattle, despite their good win this weekend.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and Matt Stafford had his first bad game of the season, throwing 2 picks.
Yep.
Yeah. I think anybody that knows anything about football knows the Rams are still a better team, just top to bottom, especially with that defense that they have.
For sure.
It's just kind of one of those things where in the division anything can happen type of deals. Plus,
Yeah.
the Cardinals are really good this year. We have to give them credit where credit's due, too.
For sure.
So,
Yeah, that offense is like the past few years, AJ Green's been banged up and hasn't been like the Pro Bowl All Pro AJ Green that there was, 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
But like he's playing really well on a team where they're just saying, "Hey, we just need you to be our 3rd or 4th best guy and only be good for about 4 or 5 targets a game." And that fits his role perfectly, or he can fit that role perfectly because he can just now take a step back and now he's just catching touchdowns every here and there.
Yeah, and I mean he was in the same draft class as Julio, and I think that's kind of what Tennessee kind of envisioned Julio's role is letting AJ Brown be the 1 and Julio kind of being the best number 2 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't worked out that well, but it's worked out great in Arizona so far.
So far.
and from what we saw from the Seahawks last week, Russell was incredible last week too.
Yep.
So we're kind of trying to recap everything from last week still, as we go through this. In this game, I am taking the Rams to cover though. Just a type of bounce back game for them in division. You really can't just lose 2 division games in a row here, and they're a good enough team to not do that. Even though the Seahawks are at home here, I'm going to take the Rams on the road to cover.
What you got, Austin?
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams as well. 2.5. That means they can win by a field goal. Wouldn't surprise me if this is a close game. The primetime games this year as a whole have been very good.
Yeah, surprisingly.
At least in the games, it might not have been the greatest matchups and situations. If we just throw out Week 1 Sunday Night Football that we don't need to ever talk about again. Other than that, the games have been really good.
I'm going to go with the Rams on this one. I feel like they just match up better offensively and defense against the Seahawks. And that's just what I'm going to go with. Moving on to Sunday morning in London, England.
Do we want to touch on some breaking news I just got first?
Yes, of course.
The Dallas Cowboys have released Jalen Smith.
Oh.
They released Dak Prescott?
No, Jalen Smith.
Just kidding.
As of right now.
Why?
Why is that?
I've got nothing. There's no, as far as I can see, there's no legal things as of right now. But saves the Cowboys $7.2 million against the cap.
Do they just like Micah Parsons that much
Oh.
that they're just like,
I'm sorry. They
It doesn't
owe
save
him
them money. They
7.2.
yeah.
They owe him the 7.2 for the rest of the year. That does not save them against the cap.
so they're just eating $7.2 million and losing a average to above average linebacker?
Now remind me, Jalen Smith, was this the guy that had to take the time off? No, that was Alden Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Jalen Smith is the middle linebacker.
Right.
They also eat an additional $9.8 million in dead money, according to Field Yates, moving forward.
Strange.
Something else has got to be going on.
Yeah,
right?
there has to be something else there.
So we'll
Something
see.
that's going to come out later.
Yeah, probably after we're done recording. So
Probably
Lovely.
when people are listening to this, they'll be like,
Right.
oh, well, that's what happened, bunch of dummies. All right, let's move on to London, England. The Jets are playing the Falcons at Tottenham. Atlanta's the 3-point favorite. They're both on the road, technically. They're both across the pond. So, Hunter, what do you think about this game? Let's make this one quick.
I think if you bet on this game, you have serious issues. I'm going to take the Jets to cover this game because why is 3 points? Why do we care? I don't know. Whatever. Taking the Jets. Who cares? Go ahead, Austin.
give me Atlanta because the Jets won't win 2 games in a row. That's my entire analysis. Yeah, this is a big who cares.
I wrote down the Jets, but I like your analysis so much that I'm switching mine, and I'm taking the Falcons too. You're right. The Jets don't win 2 in a row. I don't know what I was thinking. Falcons. I have nothing to add to this one. Justin, let's just do this. Moving on.
Zach Wilson looked pretty good there at the end of that game. Sorry, I'm finishing up Chipotle here, but
yeah, let's just revert back to Chipotle. We care about that, and that Zach Wilson's a bust. Moving on. Packers at Bengals, noon o'clock Central Time. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite on the road. I like ending the games with the person who's the fan talking last. So, Austin, you go, and then I'll go.
This is a big why is the line this line?
Yeah.
This feels like Green Bay -6, Green Bay -6.5, -7, and it's only 3 right now. But I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to make this short and sweet. They're the better team. As good as Cincinnati's been this far, Aaron Rodgers is not going to lose to Cincinnati. So they'll cover the 3. Aaron Jones has been playing well. Devontae Adams and Rodgers have really been clicking the last couple weeks after that week 1 everyone thought was the end of the world situation. But yeah, give me Green Bay here.
I don't.
RELAX.
I have an answer for you as to why it's 3. It's because the public hasn't moved it at all. Right now, 51% of the public money is on the Cincinnati Bengals right now to cover, which blows my mind.
Yeah, I got mine there.
I don't understand that. Whoever's smoking crack out there and putting money down this early in the week on the Bengals, I mean, wishing you the best, but I'm taking the Packers -3 here. Those
people are going to look like geniuses when Jordan Love gets the start. I'm taking the Packers as well. The Bengals are much improved this year from last year, but I think that the Packers are still the Packers. I think they're still a good team. They just had one hiccup in week 1. And they're just not going to be able to compete. Yeah. They're not going to be able to keep up with the Packers in this one.
There's literally no reason to not take them.
Yeah, this is also my lock of the week.
Ooh, Austin, locking up the Packers.
I'd lock it in too, but it's my Packers, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get heartbreak multiple ways here this week when we lose to the Bengals.
That's sad. I took the Browns last week and got that lock. Guess who's, really a fan of their team. Moving on, we've got the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are a 7.5-point favorite at home. Hunter, why do you think this is such a big spread? You guys rip on the Vikings so much. They're so bad. Detroit's so bad.
Detroit is very bad, and they're covering this week. I love this. I think there's a lot of are the Vikings better than we think they are? Are they worse than we think they are right now? At least among the sports shows that I listen to. I'm still on the side of they're the same team as they are every year, minus they have a slightly worse offense this year. Kirk Cousins is going to show up for a game out of the middle of nowhere and play great. As far as the matchup goes this game, I really like the Lions to be able to establish some sort of offense here against the Vikings because that defense is not what it used to be. 7.5 is just way too much. Both these teams are not good. So give me the points here.
Go ahead, AJ.
I'm going to go with the Lions as well to cover the spread, but I want to talk more about the Vikings than I do the Lions. I think the Vikings are a pretty solid team. Their defense didn't play well last week against Cleveland. If you watched that game, Cleveland beat themselves. And by Cleveland, I mean Baker. Baker was awful for the entire game. And it's not just me saying it. If you go listen to anyone that's talking about that Browns-Vikings game, everybody's ripping on Baker. Baker ripped on himself. He said how bad he played. He missed so many wide open throws. I was pretty frustrated. Carly looked at me on Sunday and was like, hey, chill out.
Baker fan here. He played pretty bad.
Yeah, no, he played like garbage. Missed so many wide open throws that he's consistently missing these tight end like corner routes, drag routes that are like 15 yards down the field, and he's just like overthrowing them. He just doesn't know how to put touch on the ball. Everything he throws has to be a bullet because he's got little man syndrome. He's got Napoleon syndrome, whatever it's called. What's it called, Carly?
Little man syndrome or
Yeah,
short man
that's what I
syndrome.
thought. Same
Short man
difference.
syndrome. That's this.
Yeah, I can't stand Baker. He drives me nuts. He sucks. And the Browns aren't going to win the Super Bowl because of him, but the Lions are going to cover this spread.
Holy crap. Apparently my dogs think someone breaking into our house.
That's how I feel about Baker every Sunday.
I'm kind of backtracking on what I've said for most of the year here, and I'm going to take Minnesota. It's a lot of points. Detroit has struggled against defensive play callers that are creative and that have good pass rushers. Zadarius Smith was out when they played Green Bay. They didn't struggle as much there. I know that at the end they pulled away. But this last weekend when you had Khalil Mack with the Bears, and then the previous weekend with Baltimore and having good pass rushers and good coaching, I trust Mike Zimmer more than I trust on the defensive end to create some havoc. Danielle Hunter is awesome. That front four for Minnesota is very good, at least in comparison to Detroit's offensive line. Detroit's missing most of their best players. So I'm taking Minnesota.
That's a Zag pick if I've ever heard one.
No, I normally tell you when it's a Zag pick.
Moving on then to the Denver Broncos, City by the Bay, at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's a 1-point favorite at home. This one's so up in the air for me. This is one I still haven't written down because as we record this, we don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is starting or not because he got a concussion in Sunday's game. But he's questionable, so just waiting to pass the protocol. So it's kind of like, if Drew Lock starts, it's definitely the Steelers walking away with the dub. If it's Teddy Bridgewater, it's the Broncos walking away with the dub. And that's my take on this game.
My take is that it's the Broncos regardless.
Ding, 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 ding.
Broncos proved to us last week that they're not a good team at all. I know they were 3-0 before that. They kind of just proved it to us, though. Steelers also proved to us last week they're not a good team at all. I'm going to take the Broncos here just because I totally believe in their defense, and I believe in their playmakers on that offense to be enough. I know they're traveling to Pittsburgh, which I don't love, but I'm going to take them in basically a pick 'em here.
Yeah, give me Denver no matter what. I am going to kind of reiterate everything Hunter said and add on to the fact that Pittsburgh offensive line is really bad. And Von Miller and Bradley Chubb are really good. And they are going to absolutely torture that front line. This game is going to be gross. This game is probably going to end like 16-10 or something ridiculous like that. But I just do not trust Ben and that Pittsburgh offense to score against Fangio and that defense. And if it comes down to it and he wants to just play man up, Denver secondary is good enough to do it and just stop the run and make Big Ben win. And I don't think he can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Broncos as well, simply because I don't trust Big Ben. That's it. That, and I really hope Teddy Two comes back because then I'll get that right anyway.
Teddy covers.
It's even more than that, though. It's not just the fact that Ben is bad right now. It's that offense doesn't try anything. You know, they literally have one card to play, and it's the short pass. And if that doesn't work, I guess, well, we're going to lose. It's like there's no creativity.
They don't have a choice. The offensive line is not good. The offensive coordinator's play calling is not fantastic. You can't move the pocket because Ben can't move. And if everyone knows that you're going to try to take it off Ben, they're just going to play their run super heavy.
Yeah. I feel bad for Najee Harris. He could be having a great season right now if he had something go his way on that team. anything at all.
Next on the list, we've got the Miami Dolphins at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa's a 10-point favorite at home in this one. Let's talk about Tampa real quick, and let's talk about not this game, but let's talk about the Patriots Bucks game on Sunday night. What did you guys think of that game and Tom Brady and his return home and Belichick's scheme against him? And really, I think it was more of the weather the weather was the bigger factor, but what did you guys get from that game?
I disagree. I think it was Belichick. Because Brady has really struggled against Belichick and all of his disciples. A couple of years ago, I don't remember if they almost lost or if they did lose to Matt Patricia when he was head coach in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Flores had a very good track record against him while Brady was still in New England, even with limited weapons there. The people inside that building know something that apparently the rest of the league doesn't. They put him into bad spots. They make him do the things he's uncomfortable with. And they aren't afraid of him because they know him like the back of their hand. So I'm taking Miami here. 10 points is too much to cover when Flores knows him as well as he does. They have a good secondary, and I think it'll be enough to cover the 10.
I agree with you, Austin, on part of what you said on giving Belichick the credit. Also, though, Brady was just way off on a couple throws there that could have really changed the way the game shifted there, especially early.
Yep, you could tell for sure he was missing high, like he was amped up in the first quarter.
Missing high all the time. Yeah, I remember 2 throws specifically where he had at least 20-yard gains, if not more, and he just way overthrew him. One of them I thought he could have scored on. Regardless here. Talking about last week's game there, I think that it was a reflection of Belichick. I think that a lot of praise was getting thrown at Mac Jones after that game. Did you guys really feel like he played all that well? Because I did not.
I thought he was Mac Jones, and I think that's what Mac Jones is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I said to Carly watching that game, that's what Mac Jones is going to be. The only thing he can improve on is being more like Brady and Peyton Manning and guys that were good in the pocket and smart and were able to read things before the play started. He's going to have to be a film junkie, and that's how he's going to elevate his game.
I see him as a less athletic Alex Smith. That's kind of what I see his career being, and that's what he was last night. He didn't screw anything up, or not last night, but Sunday night. He didn't screw anything up, but he's not going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, I agree with that.
He's fine. That's all he is.
Yep.
And I think it's more telling when we see what the Patriots do, even to hide that. The fact that they had Jacoby Myers throw the ball, 2 times? Did he throw it 3 times? He threw it twice.
At least twice.
So
completed both of them, yeah.
That's the sign that the Patriots are desperate for offense. Remember that year when they had Brady and they had no receivers at all? They were pulling out every trick in the book like that to try to get any sort of offense going. This is what they do when they don't have it. What's that?
They still don't have receivers.
They
went out and spend a ton of money on guys that aren't even very good.
Right, exactly. So they're just not a great team. Mac Jones is not good enough to elevate them really either, is my take.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine.
So
I don't disagree with that even in the slightest.
As far as my pick here goes, I'm going to take the Bucks to cover this because I'm not a believer in the Dolphins whatsoever right now.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks as well because this offense can't get anything going no matter who's at quarterback. But especially with Jake Brisket back there, they can't score points, and the Bucks are going to score. I'm going to guess in the 20s, if not the 30s, and there's no way the Dolphins get over 17 in this one. So I'm taking the Bucks. Austin, anything else you want to add or move on?
Nope, I think we're good.
Oh, I really wasn't even giving you a choice. New Orleans Saints at the Washington football team. The Saints are a 1.5-point favorite on the road. Taylor Heineke and J.D. McKissick making some magic at the end of that game against was that against Atlanta? No.
Yeah,
it was. Okay. Yeah. That really kind of frustrated me because I picked Atlanta and would have gotten that pick right if they didn't make that big play there, but that was a pretty sick play.
Dude, you can't count against Fitzmagic, dude. him just having the jersey on makes it happen.
Yeah.
Guys, I streamed Taylor Heineke in one of my fantasy leagues, and I won that league because of it. 27.9 points that week. Let's go, dude.
You gonna keep riding that Heineke train then?
I'm actually not.
Oh, jumping off real quick.
Yeah, no.
Guy does you a favor, and you can't even do him a favor and pick
right?
him in a lock or anything like that when you're not even going 500 as it is.
I know, and this isn't a reflection of the Saints. It's just a back and forth league. Saints are going to have one game here against a team that the Washington football team. As much as I love Taylor Heineke and I love watching them play, actually, I love like their playmakers, Gibson, McLaurin, etc. But it's just one of those things. This is a Gonzaga league. The Saints are going to win a game here. They're too well coached, too good of a defense to not win this game.
Can't you say the same thing about Washington though? Like the exact same thing. You don't think Ron Rivera is a good coach? I mean, he's not Sean Payton.
He's a better coach than Sean Payton.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not arguing that. But both are two good coach teams. Both have pretty good defenses. Washington's hasn't shown up, and the Saints have just been hit or miss all season. I'm just going with Washington because I'm riding the Heineke train.
I won't fault you for it.
It's kind of like the Coors train, but it's the Heineke train. You remember those Coors Light commercials?
Oh, yeah.
With the train? Yeah, it's that, but it's a Heineken one, and it's Taylor Heineke driving it.
Poor preparation on my part, because I was going to have this stat ready, and I cannot find it.
No big deal.
There's a statistic about Washington's defense last year. In games against teams that finished under 500, so it's basically all of the NFC East and then a couple other bad teams they played. Statistically, they were the number one defense in the NFL. The second they played a team that was 500 or better, they were like the 23rd ranked defense overall. So I'm not sure, based off what we're seeing this year, that are they that great of a defense, or were they kicking the crap out of bad teams?
See, I just felt like it was their front seven that's good. I don't think their secondary's
Is it even the seven though?
Montez, maybe not the linebacking core. Kerrigan.
I mean, if seven of your 11 on your team aren't great, it's hard to call them a great defense.
I'm with you, AJ and Austin. Not a great defense, but the front seven that they have is actually really, really good. So I agree with both of you.
I'm taking New Orleans. That basically is what I'm getting at here. I think Peyton's good enough to scheme around the good parts of their defense and take advantage of the parts that aren't very good.
All right. Well, before we move on to the next game, Hunter, let's before we reset our Zoom here for time, what do you think so far of the Canoe Club?
I think the Canoe Club is kind of. I think your answer is going to be not my favorite, not my style. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I could pound very many of these, but very sour.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of got a sour twist to it at the end. It's pretty low on the IBUs for you IPA people. But like the aftertaste kind of gets me with the sourness, but I mean, it's pretty good. I'm almost done with it.
Oh, really? Wow. So, okay, that surprises me.
Yeah, the guy who never really finishes a beer on the podcast is probably going to finish a beer on the podcast. Nice. All right, let's move on to our next one. Eagles at the Panthers. Carolina, 3.5 point favorite at home. Hunter, I want to throw this one to you first. What do you think of Jalen Hurts so far this season? And then give me your pick.
I struggle with this. I think he can be an NFL starter. I don't think that he can be anywhere close to an above average starter. Would you guys agree with that? Austin?
Sure, for the sake of time.
Yeah. Question mark?
You weren't listening, were you?
No, I'm listening. I was looking up a Hurts stat that I want to throw out here.
Like, he's solid, but he's not going to ever elevate a team.
Let the kid get better. I mean, how many games has he started? 6, 7?
8.
Oh, wow. 8 games. Give him time. Let's see. Let's reevaluate at the end of the year.
See, here's my problem with that. I don't trust this Eagles front office or coaching staff to do what they need to do with a young quarterback that really needs help.
That's fair.
It fell apart with Wentz. It fell apart with Foles. Really, the only reason they had that Super Bowl is because of how dominant they were in the trenches, both offensive and defensive line.
Yep.
The quarterback play there has always been like, oh, it's good, but. And if you're good, but at the quarterback position in the NFL, you're always going to be in that middle ground. I could easily see Hurts being like the definition of a between 6-11 and 10-7 quarterback. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at, Hunter.
So let me ask you this, Austin. Were they good to move on from Wentz and go to Hurts?
Yeah. I mean, at least you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what you have in Wentz, and you know it's not working there. So
yeah, you're not missing out on anything with Wentz.
And someone was stupid enough to offer up a first-round pick for Carson Wentz. It's my weekly Chris Ballard's an idiot jab.
All right. Who's your pick for this game?
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles to cover. I think that the Carolina Panthers are just kind of crippled offensively without McCaffrey. I think that showed last week.
I'm gonna trust Carolina's defense here. I'm gonna take Carolina. I wish it was 3, not 3.5, but it is what it is.
I'm with you, Austin, and McCaffrey's questionable, so I'm holding out hope for that as well.
I don't think he's
I like the
play,
Panthers defense and him questionable. Yeah, I'm with you. He probably shouldn't because it's not like they have a chance of a Super Bowl or anything.
Especially with his injury rates.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, top 4 passing yards through the first 8 games of their career. Cam Newton 1, 2603. Jalen Hurts 2, 2584. Justin Herbert 3, Patrick Mahomes 4.
Interesting.
What does it mean?
Absolutely nothing. Moving on.
Bingo.
We've got the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Major snooze fest in this one. Tennessee is a 4-point favorite on the road. I think, honestly, 3 of those points of them being favorites probably have something to do with Urban Meyer and the Club of College Girls. I'm taking the Titans in this one.
Would you say that they are going to dance right on past him on this one?
I don't know.
He said no, that he didn't want to dance with her. So
yeah, that's what the video showed.
Who are you taking, AJ?
I took the Titans.
Hunter, anything to add?
Titans. Can we move on?
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee as well. Derrick Henry will cover -4 by himself.
No locks on this yet? AJ, have you said your lock yet?
I haven't.
Oh, boy. All right, let's move on.
Next up, we've got the Chicago Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders 5.5-point favorites at home. Hunter, what do you think about the Bears?
I told you guys this. We were talking a little bit about Justin Fields' performance from last week. I didn't watch it that closely at all, so I'm not going to give a whole lot of hot takes here. I'm just sure that whatever it is, it's going to be a disaster. So I'm going to take the Raiders to bounce back and cover the spread here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Bears defense is playing a little bit better.
Very well.
We saw last night that the Raiders offense kind of had some hiccups and it took them a little while to get going. But for the Bears to win this game, they need to get out early and they need to score early. And they did that last week. They scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives last week. I'm going to go with the Bears to cover in this one.
Shoot.
You're darn dead right you are, because they're gonna win this game outright.
Lock it up, Austin. Lock it up.
I already used mine on Green Bay.
Oh, you're right. You did.
They're gonna win this game. Fields, for now, is a guy that's not gonna screw up and lose you the game. He's gonna make a few plays. He's gonna push the ball down the field. I don't know if any of you, or if either of you guys saw that video of Damon Arnett trying to play corner. on Monday night, but
Yeah,
he
once
didn't
he
even
got
make
hurt.
contact with a guy. I thought he tore all the muscles in his lower half of his body without even getting a move put on him. Between Mooney and Robinson, one of them will take advantage of that, get a couple big plays, get him enough points. Staley for the Chargers comes from the same coaching tree as Fangio's coaching tree, which is where the Bears' new defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, learned everything he's got. So Desai's been great so far, scheming out things. He's going to take a lot of notes from what he's got. It's a similar system. And as stagnant as the Raiders kind of looked last night, I think they've got it. They're going to have this game in hand.
Austin, who's going to guard Waller?
Roquan, baby.
It'll be a combination of Roquan and Eddie Jackson.
Are you comfortable with that?
I am.
I'm more comfortable in the Eddie Jackson part.
No, Eddie Jackson's been literally awful this year. He can't tackle to save his life. But the one thing I am kind of excited, he was a little better this past weekend. The coaching staff has been open to call him out. And I think he's the guy that needs that. He responded better this last week. But I'm more comfortable in the schemes that Desai will put out there to manage that, because Waller didn't have a target until how far into the game last night?
It was second quarter, mid-second quarter.
So if they can contain him, you aren't going to stop him. He's too good of a player for you to stop him, but contain him a little bit. I am in no way, shape, or form scared of their running game. So when you make them one-dimensional, it makes it a lot easier.
All right, let's move on to Dallas. We've got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are a 7-point favorite at home. Austin, I'm going to throw this one to you. We talk a lot. We focus a lot about the Cowboys. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want to talk about the Cowboys' possible potential for this season, or do you want to talk about what the Giants need to do with their quarterback situation?
Both sound really gross.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game.
Basically, I think the Giants' last game was a fluke. I'm still not a believer in Danny Dimes. There's nothing about them that excite me at all. And I trust Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Cooper and Zeke to all put up enough points to cover the spread here. I don't think Dallas has anything past divisional round in their future. But they're going to end up winning this division probably handedly based on how the rest of the division is playing. And everybody's going to get super hyped up as if Dallas is a good team, and then Dallas is going to play some good teams and just get wiped off the field with them. So
I disagree. I think that I don't think, AJ, you brought up the quarterback situation. I don't think this is the week to talk about that.
Okay.
Daniel Jones played well last week. Threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they played pretty well. The main reason he was able to do that, though, is he was not getting pressured at all, which is surprising to me, especially with how good that defensive unit is for the New Orleans Saints, especially up front.
Yep.
Very surprising to me. They're going against the Cowboys defense this week that is missing DeMarcus Lawrence, their best edge rusher. I like the ability that he's going to I like I like that they're not going to be able to pressure him a whole lot. I think he's going to have time to actually throw this week. So I'm going to take them to cover. I don't know if they'll win this game. Division matchup, I just like the cover here.
I'm going with the Cowboys, and I'm locking up the Cowboys because the Cowboys are going to score over 35 points, and the Giants can't score over 30 points. Yeah, that's all I've got for this one. Ready to move on?
Can't wait till you get that one wrong.
All right. Next on the list, we've got the New England Patriots at the Houston Texans. New England's a 9-point favorite at home. We talked about the Patriots already a little bit ago. Texans, not too great. I'm taking the Patriots because Davis Mills sucks. And Belichick's been scheming up that defense pretty well so far this season. And I think that, the Patriots can't score points, but I feel like they'll score 21. But I don't think Houston will get more than, they're not going to get to 14 or 17 or anything like that. So I'm okay with eating the points here.
I hate I hate doing this because they didn't. I feel like they don't deserve to be 9-point favorites. They haven't shown us nearly enough offensively. But I just can't.
Line.
I just can't go pick a rookie QB against Bill Belichick. I can't do it.
Go ahead
Not
and
with
take
how
the
bad
Texans,
he's been.
Austin. We know you want to.
No, I'm taking New England here. Despite the not great stat that Hunter kind of referenced there, Belichick 13-0 at home against rookie quarterbacks, only 8-6 on the road against the spread. So not a great situation there. However, I assume most of these previous rookie quarterbacks were, good and not Davis Mills. So I'm throwing that stat out the window and taking New England to cover big here.
On to the next one. We've got the Cleveland Browns at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are 1.5-point favorite at home, probably because they're winning the AFC West right now. Chiefs fans, you better hit the panic button. Time to freak out. You're down a game and a half or 2 games. Oh my god.
The divisional torch has been passed. It's over.
Justin Herbert is now better than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, by a long shot. Hunter, give me your insight on this Justin Herbert-led Chargers team.
Offensively, they're just so much fun to watch. I love watching the Chargers. He was so good last night too. I think there was one throw I was like, that could have been better. Other than that, like I don't really have a whole lot of notes for the guy. He was so good.
He made one bad throw the whole game. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Just one. What an idiot. Austin, what do you think about this Chargers defense with Derwin James healthy?
He's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
When he's healthy, he's a total difference maker.
That defense is totally different with him in there.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Much more dynamic.
He reminds me a lot of like Bob Sanders, but back in the Indianapolis days.
Love
Mike Brown. Mike Brown with the Bears. Like statistically, I don't have it in front of me, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's like a touchdown a game different in points per game. Like there's such a different defense. He's so impactful. And it just feels like everybody on the team trusts him. You don't feel like there's a void on the field. They always can rely on someone being there. And if they need somebody to lock down what would be a difference maker at tight end, in which they have 2 of them in that division, he can do it, and he's just fantastic.
And so far, he's really shown us, or the coach, Brandon Staley, has shown us that he knows what he's doing. So far, there's really no reason to doubt him this far into his coaching career. It's only 4 games, but he's doing a pretty dang good job.
Management against Kansas City was
pretty bad,
questionable.
Other than that,
defensively,
I've
he's
really
awesome.
liked a lot of his stuff.
I don't remember who it was, but somebody when he got hired called him the Sean McVay of defense. He's super young. He's very creative. He knows how to get the matchups in that he wants. We've seen time and time again. Joey Bosa ends up somehow either one-on-one with somebody that's supposed to be chipping him or one-on-one with a tight end. And that type of stuff really matters when you can unlock your best players rather than trying to help everyone else around him.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference. And he did that with Aaron Donald the last couple of years, and he's shown he can do it again.
Every team at every level of every sport has a glue guy. And without that glue guy, your team just doesn't play as good. And Derwin James is that glue guy for the Chargers.
Too tranquil. Oh, wait, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's Derwin James. I know you're just trying to make a Notre Dame
Derwin
reference.
James might be a little too good to be a glue guy.
No, I know, but someone that without that person there, it falls apart.
It's
the
good old adage, not who's the best player, but who's their most important player.
Yes. So who'd you guys take in this one?
I'm taking Cleveland.
Yeah, I think we've done enough kissing of the Chargers butts. I'm taking Cleveland too. The spread doesn't make sense to me.
I love that we just talked the heck out of them. And we just both picked Cleveland.
Yeah, this is Cleveland for me, and I don't get why it's only 1.5. Baker's not going to be that bad again. He may not be fantastic, but he's not going to be that bad again. They're going to run the ball well, like they always do, and they'll probably win what'll end up being a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns as well. I'm hoping that the defense continues. It would be a really good game for the Browns to the league. Like, it would put the league on notice if the Browns come out and play good defense this game, because then it's like, okay, their defense is here and like they're a legit top 5 defense if they slow this Chargers team down. But they've played well the past 2 weeks, not against the greatest competition. Vikings offense, I think, is pretty good, and they kind of stunted them. The Vikings scored on their first possession last week, and then the next 11 got held to 0 points.
Yep.
So pretty good showing on the Browns' part defensively. Yeah, I'm with you guys that there's no possible way Baker can play that bad. I think he's not going to allow himself to play that bad 2 weeks in a row. And for that reason, in the Browns run game, I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Yeah. I just think this is a spot where Baker wills his team to win for a second straight week.
I thought you were serious for half a second.
We know Baker's better than this, though. I mean, he played terrible last week, and that's okay because we don't expect him to be super, super high level quarterback play.
No, but you expect him. If he can't be a super, super high level, then you expect consistency. And if he can't be consistent, then what are you?
I agree. And he has to be better. I'm being critical of him. He has to be better.
And these missed throws that he had last week, he misses about 2 or 3 of them a game. And last week, he just missed all of them. And they're plays that are very impactful plays that could set up drives that, because these throws that he misses,
touchdowns.
Yeah, the OBJ one. Holy cow! Yeah. Like OBJ, I thought he was going to throw his helmet at him and walk over to the other sideline, just join that team because he was going to get better balls thrown by them. Like, it was awful. All of the OBJ talk with Baker can go away because it's Baker's fault. No, I think OBJ's back to OBJ. I think he's healthy and playing well.
Let them play together. Let them play together before we jump to that conclusion, because that's the problem. It's when one of them play, they ball out. It's when both Landry and Odell are on the field at the same time that there's been issues. I don't think we're quite ready there.
I think that was more of a reflection of Baker's tunnel vision, too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he needs to just not ever have tunnel vision, just throw it to the open guy. But what I was trying to say, Austin, is that Odell, for the first time being in Cleveland, is healthy.
Correct, for sure. And he's got that, that spark, that extra gear, the cutting ability and all that kind of stuff that he's had. I'm more, my criticism there was, once both of them on the field, can he avoid the tunnel vision? Is Odell going to be okay with 5 targets in a game, 4 targets in a game, if it schemes up that way? Because it felt like that was an issue, or at least Baker thought it was going to be an issue and tried to force the ball that way.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the only time I've seen OBJ get frustrated, and obviously we're not on the sideline with them and can't hear him at all times, but the only time that he's noticeably frustrated is when he does get open and Baker throws the ball to him and the throw is awful. And he's like, hey, man, I get you're only going to throw it to me 4 times a game, but when you throw to me the 4 times a game, give me a chance to make a play. And every throw that he missed at him, he didn't have a chance to make a play on.
He kind of reminds me of a toddler sometimes, Baker does. Like, it's like he gets excited when he sees something wide open, and then
he just
freaks out and hits fast forward on all of his mechanics and then misses the throw.
Yeah, he just throws a rope to him instead of just putting it out there for them to get. It's okay. We don't have to talk about him anymore. Moving on to the next one, we've got the San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals, NFC West matchup again. We've got Arizona as a 5.5-point favorite at home. I just looked. Jimmy Garoppolo is questionable for Sunday's game. Yes, I know it's Garoppolo, but Garoppolo is just so much more fun to say. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one, but I feel like the Niners are going to win. It's just one of those gut feelings that this NFC West is so weird and they just kind of beat up on each other, and it just depends on the week, but one of them's going to beat up on the other one. And I feel like this is where Arizona is either going to come out and play really well this one and lose next week after a high of winning this week, or they're going to lose this week, but they're not going to go undefeated for much longer, but I'll take them one more week.
I agree with you. It feels like it's going to be a San Francisco win, And that's because it is going to be a San Francisco win. It's a zig and zag league. It's a zig and zag division.
We've said zig and zag more times on this one show
I
than
know.
we've ever said in the entire
Because
podcast.
I started that.
Shut the
trademark.
hell up with zig and zag and come up with something different. That'd be awesome.
It's a zag and zig league. And
okay, that's better.
The Cardinals, they're 4-0 right now, best record in the league. I like the San Francisco 49ers with a full week with who they know is going to be their quarterback this week is Trey Lance. Yep. They're going to figure out a plan. I mean, if they can roll out Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard and win games with those guys when they were way inferior, Shanahan's going to figure this out with Trey Lance this week. They're at least covering the spread. I think they're winning the game outright.
Ditto? Is that the fastest way to do that?
Yep.
I'm all over it. I'm with you totally. If we all think Kyle Shanahan's an awesome play designer for guys like JaMychal Hasty and all these other running backs that he literally finds on the ground or sitting on the sidewalk when he walks into work. Imagine how good he's going to be with a 6'4" guy that runs a 4.5 40, being able to add read options and triple options and extra motions into everything. This has Kyle Shanahan winning this game all over it. I don't think it's necessarily the 49ers or their abilities. It just feels like Hunter said, it's back and forth. Arizona just had a massive win. So what's going to happen. They're going to have a letdown spot, and San Francisco is at least going to cover, but I'm with Hunter. I think they went outright.
You're heavy going against the public money there, too, by the way. So I like that play as far as betting goes.
On to the next one. We've got the Sunday night football matchup is the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City's a 2.5-point favorite at home. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one because I know it's going to be a shootout, and I could see it coming down to a field goal. And if it's a field goal for the Chiefs, that's 3 points right there, and it covers the spread. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I do like Buffalo's defense, but I think if it just comes down to scoring touchdowns, Chiefs had 7 drives last week. Patrick Mahomes threw 1 interception, and then on the other 6 drives, they scored touchdowns. So it's pretty efficient. I mean, if you have 7 drives in a game and you score 42 points, I think that's pretty good, right? Last I checked, it was.
Not bad at all.
This is my lock of the week. I'm taking the Chiefs. It's going to be the same game as it was last year.
Austin, we definitely could have seen this one coming. Hunter locking up against Josh Allen. Yeah.
Yep.
At what point in the slate did you know that this was coming? When we passed what game?
When we got past Tennessee.
Okay.
When you didn't take Tennessee against Jacksonville, I looked down at our list and I was like, yep, there it is.
Do I need to explain myself?
No.
Okay. I'll just let the scoreboard do the talking this week.
This will probably be the last in-depth conversation we have for the rest of the podcast, but I want to ask you guys, I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about how Andy Reid really hasn't changed the scheme of this Chiefs offense in really a couple years. Like a couple years ago, they came out with this Tyreek Hill running deep routes, crossing the field, and Travis Kelce running across the field and just kind of finding spaces. But it seems like teams are picking up on that more. Do you think that he's going to throw any niches in here or there or change up or add something new to this offense? Or do you think they're going to keep going with it? Because it's kind of hard to say, change it up when you score 6 touchdowns on 7 drives.
Yeah, picking up on it, I don't know what you mean by that. They scored 33 points, 35 points, 24 points, 42 points.
Yeah. I know, but
I know what AJ's trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say too.
Everybody knows what's coming. Yeah. It's just they just have to stop it.
Right. And you can't.
Yeah.
The only adaptation, I guess would be the right word, for this Kansas City offense is figuring out if they can run the ball more efficiently.
And they have.
To give the defense. Actually. Yeah, and it hasn't been bad at all.
Hilaire has 100 yards in back-to-back games now.
Yeah, so I mean, if you add any sort of run game into it, and you have to even moderately respect play action, you're screwed. With Hartman and Hill's speed and Travis Kelce playing against the linebackers, you're screwed. It has moderately changed. They changed Tyreek Hill's crossing routes into more of what Travis Kelce does the last couple of years. And now they talked about that a lot in the Super Bowl last year of sitting down when he's doing these crossing routes. And that was basically the next evolution of Tyreek Hill, is he learned to be a receiver and not a runner. And that's what totally unlocked him last year. And I know he's still going to have his games where he doesn't play fantastic, and that's why he's not the best, unanimously the best receiver in the league. Because if he got rid of these lull games where he has 3 catches for 15 yards, I mean, he would be putting up record-breaking numbers every single year. But to me, this is Buffalo's one big chance during this season to show that they're for real. If Buffalo's defense can kind of stop Kansas City, no one expects them to actually stop them. But if they can keep them, let's say, under 30.
AJ, what's the recipe here for the offense for the Bills to win this game? Because they're going to have to outscore them, because the Chiefs are putting up 25 to 30 points for sure.
Well, the Bills have been playing pretty well offensively. I think it's more the defense. The defense, really, to me, the only recipe to stop Mahomes is you got to get him to throw a pick or two and make them punt once. There's got to be 3 empty possessions for the Chiefs in the game, and you have to score over 35 points to beat the Chiefs. That's the only way to beat the Chiefs.
Pretty easy.
I know it's pretty easy. I don't know why more people don't do it.
Yeah, but 2 teams have already done it. Why wouldn't you just try to do that? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you just put pressure up the middle on him, he freaks out.
I do think that is one thing that I'm excited to see, if Buffalo can cause enough Mahomes chaos.
I don't think so.
I'm not saying they will, but that's the one like mystery to me, is can they, because it showed in the Chargers game, when Mahomes really is panicked is the only time that he's beatable. Because if he's comfortable, you're screwed. Yeah. Like you have literally no chance. You can't just count on him screwing up throws when he's comfortable sitting back there doing whatever he wants.
Yep. There's got to be a pass rush. Let's move on to the Monday night game. We've got the Indianapolis Colts at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's a 7-point favorite at home. Who do you guys got in this one? I don't have a whole lot of insight on this Colts-Ravens one, because I don't think the Colts are that good this year. They're pretty tough to watch.
They are pretty tough to watch. Locked them in last week, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I tried to do it. That was the other one that I tried to give a second lock on. So they aren't, and I still don't trust Lamar. And I'm taking Indy to cover.
Really?
Yep.
See, the only thing that makes me think that Indy could cover is that all the primetime games, regardless of the spread, have been really good this year. And that's the only thing that makes me think the Colts could cover, but I'm still going to go with Baltimore, and I'm still going to go with Lamar.
This is such a tough pick for me. Just
really,
matchup-wise, this is just such an interesting game as far as matchups go.
Well, think about it, Hunter. What does Baltimore do good defensively? It's blitz and put pressure on quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. What can Carson Wentz not do at all?
Throw against the blitz.
Yeah, throw against the blitz.
Holds the ball way too long every time.
Mr. Panicky. I don't see anything. Go ahead, Austin.
Not that they're my favorite statistic place in the world, but PFF actually has Carson Wentz at dead last in the amount of turnover-worthy plays this year.
Awesome. He also holds on the ball way too long, and when he gets blitzed, it just throws the game out of whack because he doesn't know how to react to it.
Counterpoint, Frank Reich knows that's exactly what's going to happen, and we'll have an entire week to get.
God, I want to agree with you, Austin. I like Reich a lot. I like him a lot. I like the Colts. I just don't see it because I haven't seen it yet.
I do think Wentz kind of has that Kirk Cousins kind of vibe to it. Not necessarily the primetime thing, but like when you've counted him out and you don't really care, he puts up a game where he plays really well. And I just feels like it's time for it.
If there's any time, it's now because he looks like he should be sitting next
Hey,
to the
And
dumpster at a
worst
Denny's.
case, dude, Sam Ellinger is off of IR this week, so
I don't think much of those Colts I don't think much of that quarterback room at
Be
all.
better with Jacob Eason in there, I think.
It'd be better with Jake Brisket in there, honestly.
Oh man, I'm gonna take. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna take the Colts to cover. Seven's a lot. It's a lot.
7's too much. Thank
It's
you.
too
That's all I'm
much.
saying.
It's too much.
Do you
This
think
is
the Colts
100%
also?
a spread pick for me.
This is 100% a game I'm not betting on.
I'm looking forward to winning this one because that means I'll have one more dub than you guys, or it'll just bring me closer to, whatever you guys are. But I like being different. I'm taking the Ravens. Anything else we want to add at the end of the show? I don't have any lists today. I was pretty busy at work. I apologize.
Loans ain't gonna process
dare you,
themselves,
good
dude.
job.
They're not, dude.
Canoe Club,
That's a
final
process.
review. Won't be probably buying again, but it was enjoyable for one time.
If I was at a party and someone said, "Hey, do you want a beer?" and opened their fridge and I saw this in there and I knew I was probably going to only have one beer, it would depend on what the rest of the selection is.
That's
But-
why we like you on here, AJ. Those bold statements that you make.
Yep. But if someone said, "Hey, here's a beer," and threw it to me, I drink it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Take that, Canoe Club. Put it in quotes and put it on your bottles. Unknown Sports Podcast. It wasn't bad. That's for you. Find us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us. Apple iTunes, SoundCloud. Hunter, you still making beats on SoundCloud, dude? They can
Dude.
listen to that, dude.
I haven't
You could
posted
put
a
that in there.
freaking podcast on SoundCloud in years.
Whatever. We don't need to be on SoundCloud. We're not SoundCloud rappers.
Hunter is. Speak for
Well,
yourself.
Hunter, yeah, Hunter is sorry. Until next time, everybody, take it easy.